Fleece hat. I'm sure you know that the heat just goes through the extremities. This is a big extremity, so protected. Actually, there's no mention of it, but you will want a sun hat of some sort, or a baseball cap. And some people didn't have one, and they complained that their head was getting really hot. So watch it, because it's like anything with the sun, you might not realize the impact until it really hits you. So protect your head during the hiking with a sun hat on the sunny days. But then you might, even the same, within a space of a few minutes, you'll be potentially swapping that for a fleece hat or a woolly hat. And definitely, I would say a woolly hat for going up the summit. They're also recommending a balaclava here. I did use my gaiter up the summit. It's a difficult thing. Going up the summit is really tricky, because when you have it over your nose, as you can imagine, you probably remember COVID times if you're doing this, that you steam up and you're walking in Arctic conditions, so your mouth is freezing up on the gaiter. But what that gives you an option is you can pull it down and pull it back up. So actually, after saying gaiter is optional, I actually found that gaiter very useful on the summit. So I recommend it. Gaiter, balaclava, protection of your neck and your nose, headlamp, and including one set of batteries. I actually had 2 headlamps. One of them was battery powered and was rechargeable, USB powered. And I had those so that I wouldn't have to change the batteries, because I could not imagine going through the hassle of that. But the reason why it's really prudent to have 2 is that you will use them every night. Going maybe not necessarily to the lunch tent, but walking back from the lunch tent to your own tent, and whenever you need to go to the toilet. You might think that you won't need them, but it's a really dark night. Like, the skies are beautiful, full of stars, but the stars don't give you much light at night. And there's tent poles, tent lines everywhere. There's uneven ground, rocks, who knows what else is left on the ground. Okay, so that's the main equipment that's covered, and they also have a few other things that they're recommending here. Flask 1 liter or thermos 1 liter. I mentioned that it was a thing for the summit for me to use a flask. What happened before we went up the summit, we were given lukewarm water so that it wouldn't freeze in the camel bags. And I had that in my flask, which is an insulated flask. That meant that whilst actually others did suffer with the water freezing in their camel bags, especially in the pipes for the mouthpieces, mine never got cold in my insulated flask. And that was actually rather unpleasant when we were coming down from the summit, and that 8 o'clock morning sun was so hot on my several layers that I chose to never take off. And then to drink lukewarm water as well to hydrate, no. So it's a difficult balance. But basically, the insulated bottle could have taken cold, maybe not freezing cold, but cold water, and that wouldn't have frozen. But I'm highlighting that the camel bag is likely to freeze up, just so you know. So be prepared for that and make your choice on the night. Hand warmer. I had a few and I used them. Definitely for the summit day, I used the set. They last up to 12 hours, depending when you get. The ones that when you take them out of the packet, you shake them and they release the heat. And as long as you're kind of holding on to them, they will keep releasing the heat. That's something that, they're not expensive. And I would definitely say take a good bunch of those. And knowing what I know now, I would have taken the same amount of the ones for the feet, and I would put them in my socks. For sleeping. I think that would have improved my experience tenfold. So a few things that are not on the list that I would like to mention. Hot water bottles. I said that we were lucky with our travel agent. I don't know if other travel agents do that as well, but they presented us with hot water bottles, which were a godsend. They were Altessa send, but they were a godsend, because my body could not produce the heat that I needed to keep me warm at night. So 1 water bottle was good, and it was a traveling water bottle. Then second night they had excess, so the second night I requested a second water bottle, and I had 2 ever since. 1 always had to be in my feet, because I discovered that it was my feet that were the coldest, that I struggled with the most. And when I couldn't get my feet warm, my whole body, I just felt so uncomfortable at nights trying to get myself warm. Headphones. I made a mistake of not putting them in for the summit night, and in hindsight, I wish I had, because I was falling asleep going up that hill because the pace was slow and I was cold and my body was shutting down and it just wanted to sleep even when my legs were moving and I was upright. It was, and I could have used at least a good 6 hours of that nighttime walk to listen to an audiobook, which I absolutely love, by the way. But for some reason I thought that we had people speaking to us as we go up, and that didn't happen. We did have porters singing, which was nice, but I think it would have been much more bearable and a much better experience if I could have had something blaring into my ears. I had headphones with me, I just didn't take them on the summit. So that's something I would suggest. The other things I would recommend as well is earbuds, because I've already mentioned we had pre-summit evening. We had our lunch at 2 o'clock, I think it was, and then we were told to rest up and sleep until we had our breakfast at 10 o'clock at night, or 10:30. So I think we were going to be getting up at 10 o'clock. So when you're heading to bed for your forced lie down, it is still light outside, or it was end of September. So you might want an eye mask, but you know, might as well just zip yourself up in a sleeping bag as I did. But you will want to block off those noises, because the camp, not everyone from the camp will be going up the summit. It's a group of porters that goes with you. So not one of them has to heed to that recommendation or that order even of resting before the summit. So some of them will still be, you know, shutting down the camp, cleaning, making sure everything's in place, prepping stuff in advance for the breakfast. So it can still be noisy and it might be difficult to shut off. I know it's quite an extensive list, but you have to be prepared for this. So apart from training your body, make sure you do spend time on the list, on getting the right gear, not any random one. Going up the summit will be hard. Sleeping in the tent in the cold will be hard. Make sure you're choosing the right gear, because you have limited space and limited weight to play with there. I hope that helped. And again, I invite your comments, especially those who have done it and you found that some of this advice was rubbish, or you're completely not prepared, or you were perfectly prepared and actually over what I suggested you would recommend something better, something taking up less space but much more practical. Keen to hear that. Do let me know. Do put it in the comments or send me a message. And again, I have to remind you that all this is for VSA. I am so close to the target. It's still just a couple of £100 separating us from the target. You can see I'm committing myself to this. So if you could please spare a few pounds, help me get to that target so that I can deliver on my promise to VSA, so that they can deliver on their mission on helping everyone in Aberdeenshire and wider region achieve their full potential, regardless of the circumstances they find themselves in. The link is in the description of the video, so please, and I'll see you in the next one.